Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Story of Sam and welcome back to a brand new NBA video today here on the channel. And today I wanted to talk about Paul George, just because Paul George has always been known as a playoff underperformer ever since he left the Indiana Pacers, but this year he is completely flipping the narrative. He has been playing so great throughout these NBA playoffs, really leading this Clippers team to actual playoff success without their best player in Kawhi Leonard. And I really do think this playoff run from Paul George should not be overlooked, and he should be getting a lot of respect for how he's playing right now. If you guys are brand new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And of course, guys, make sure to drop a like on today's video. That would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So Paul George obviously has a history with underperforming in the playoffs. Of course, last year's first season with the Clippers in the bubble, he had an awful playoff performance against both the Dallas Mavericks and hitting the side of the backboard, absolutely choking in Game 7 versus the Denver Nuggets. But this year he has really came to play in the postseason, really proving all the doubters wrong and just showing everyone that Paul George can be an elite playoff performer like he was on the Pacers. When Kawhi Leonard got injured, I thought the Clippers were completely done. They were playing the Utah Jazz. It was a 2-2 series. They had to go to Game 5 on the road, and Paul George was their #1 option. But Paul George really stepped up here. He had 37 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks on 55% from the field in Game 5 versus the Utah Jazz. That was definitely a legacy game. You know, if Paul George played bad, everybody would have been talking about his lackluster playoff performances and how he cannot show up in big games, but he really did show up here. That was a huge game, putting the Clippers up 3-2 on the Jazz. Going back home where the Clippers would win the series, Paul George led the Clippers to their first conference finals appearance in NBA history, so I do think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Another amazing stat for Paul George this postseason run, he has scored 20 plus points a game in 18 straight playoff games. Every single playoff game this season, Paul George has had 20 points. There is only 4 total players in NBA history that have done that: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and now Paul George. And I really think Kawhi Leonard's injury helped Paul George elevate his game even more, just because nobody was expecting Paul George to lead the Clippers past the Utah Jazz once Kawhi Leonard was injured. There was no pressure on Paul George. Nobody was expecting him to win. He has helped this team. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, a bunch of guys have stepped up on the Clippers in Kawhi's absence. And also in the closeout game versus the Utah Jazz in Game 6, Paul George had 28 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a block. He only shot 41% from the field though, 10 of 24 from the field, but he did lead the Clippers, so again, 2 straight wins with no Kawhi Leonard. And also 28 points on 24 shots isn't that bad. And when the Clippers beat the Utah Jazz and were facing the Phoenix Suns, nobody gave them a shot at all. I do not think they could win this series. I don't think they're going to win this series still, but they have definitely put up a great fight. Paul George is averaging 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists versus the Suns, and even though he isn't shooting a great percentage from the field or a great percentage from the 3-point line, he has to be aggressive. He is the best player in the court. There is no Kawhi Leonard. He has to take a lot of shots. He has to go all out. He can't just sit back and take like 15 or 16 shots a game, because he is being relied upon to score a lot to give this Clippers team any chance of beating the Suns. And when the Clippers dropped down 3-1 to the Phoenix Suns, Paul George could have quit. He could have said, you know what? There is no Kawhi Leonard. We are not expected to win this game. We are on the road in Phoenix. We're down 3-1. He could have just quit, packed it up, called it a season, and say, you know what, as a franchise, we made it to our first conference finals ever. It was a great season, but instead, Paul George comes out in Game 5 and arguably has his best game ever. He played absolutely amazing in Game 5 versus Suns, down 3-1. He put up 41 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and probably the most impressive part, 15 of 20 from the field, 75% field goal percentage. That is absolutely incredible. Definitely one of his best games ever. I'm not sure if it is his best game, but it's definitely his best playoff performance in a long time. And I really want people that hate on Paul George all the time to give him respect when he actually does play well, because there are plenty of people that only talk about Paul George when he is playing poorly. But I think it's very important to talk about how well he is actually playing this postseason run, instead of just waiting for him to play one bad game and then criticizing him. But I really do want to give credit to Paul George. He averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists throughout this entire postseason run. Those are much better numbers than I expected when entering the playoffs. So definitely huge props to Paul George. He has played very well this postseason run, and he definitely proved a lot of people wrong. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video on why Paul George's playoff run should not be overlooked, not be taken for granted, and really, he should be getting props for how well he has been playing in the postseason. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And of course, guys, make sure to drop a like on today's video. that would be great. And if you guys do want to watch more of my NBA videos, I'm going to leave an end screen right when this video finishes to 2 of my previous uploads that I think you guys would really enjoy. So have a great rest of your day, guys. It's been Story of Sam, and I'm out. Peace.